everybody, welcome to another episode of Every Marvel Movie Ever. I'm your host, Gabe Thomas, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Francisco Alcala.
Hello.
Today, we're going to talk about Doctor Strange. But not the Doctor Strange you're thinking of. We're going to talk about Doctor Strange from 1978. What do you think? Basic thoughts.
For being a Doctor Strange movie, it's not that weird.
No. It's definitely... I think it has its moments of being what I thought it was gonna be, but it's probably not as crazy as... Because, I mean, like, you look at the new Doctor Strange movie...
Turning a black hole into fucking a bunch of butterflies, and it's like...
and hands on hands and stuff like that.
There's none of that in this movie.
No, there's none of that.
Nothing even close.
Kind of disappointing. That's pretty disappointing, I guess. But, I guess we'll get into it. I'll start with some trivia. So... Stan Lee was a consultant on this, which, if you remember from last week, he hated the Spider-Man movie, but he really liked this one. And so I have some funny stuff from Stan Lee, because this came out on, this was a CBS thing. This was just like Spider-Man was. This is another, basically a pitched pilot for a Doctor Strange TV series. But unlike Spider-Man,
it didn't get
picked up.
Understandable.
And maybe later we'll find out why. Yeah, so this was out while both Spider-Man and Hulk were already established on the network. So Stan Lee said in an interview that he had the most input on Doctor Strange compared to like Marvel, or compared to like Spider-Man or Hulk or any of that stuff. So he said that this is a direct quote. He said, Doctor Strange and the Hulk were fine. Captain America was a bit of a disappointment, and Spider-Man was a total nightmare. So,
oh boy,
he didn't like Spider-Man as much as we did. He also said that this would have done better if it didn't air opposite Roots on ABC, because while Doctor Strange was on, the slave drama Roots was on the other channel at the same time. Because these were back in the days when there were 3 TV channels, obviously. So people really didn't like this movie, and...
I guess I can kind of see why.
Yeah. I don't know if people liked Spider-Man that much. I didn't really look into the reception. I was more curious on just how that happened. But the thing that Spider-Man didn't really have that this has like a pretty like dedicated crew and director. The director is Philip DeGreer, and he's not only the director, he's also the writer and the producer. So he poured his heart and soul into this project.
He's the Tommy Wiseau of this movie.
He's the Tommy Wiseau of this movie, is only he didn't play Doctor Strange.
He should have.
Yeah, that would have been better than whoever they got to play Doctor Strange. Peter Hooton, which isn't not a name I'm ever going to get used to saying.
Has he been in anything other than this?
I didn't even look. I googled him, and I think he was only in like soap operas, and I was just like, because like last week, like Nicholas Hammond was in The Sound of Music,
yeah,
like
he was an actual actor.
a multi-Academy Award-winning film, one of the most classic films ever made. And then Peter Hooton was probably on like Blue Heelers or something.
I think on the back of the box I saw that he was from something, but yeah. I don't think I recognized it. So
probably not anything that anyone's ever heard of. So he was given a pretty big budget for this, and they went over schedule because of all the green screen. And there's a lot of green screen in this movie.
Not to say that it's that great.
No,
but
maybe not.
There.
Maybe not. It could be worse. It's probably better than the Spider-Man green screen.
It's definitely better than Spider-Man.
It's much better.
But...
It's used more efficiently with all the magic. Yeah, the composer, I don't think I have his name down, but the composer was really bummed out because he was really... The composer and the director were like best friends, and they were really excited for this. And so when everybody hated it and it didn't get picked up, they were pretty depressed. But honestly, I kind of like the score for this movie. It's kind of one of the best.
It's pretty good.
It's one of the best parts. Okay, yeah. Also, originally, DeGreer wanted the weird mentor guy, whose name is like Thomas something, to be Merlin, because the villain, Morgan Le Fay, is from like Arthurian legend. Like, she's a real mythological character in real life. So he wanted Merlin, but even though I'm pretty sure that character's in the public domain, they wouldn't give it to him for some reason. Yeah. Oh, so on the score, apparently Michael Giacchino, who's one of the most famous film composers right now, he did the score for like Rogue One, and he did the score for the 2016 Doctor Strange movie. He really liked this movie's score, and I think there's a lot of this movie's score like influencing that movie's score, like the 2016 one score. mentor.
That would make sense, but
Yeah.
I haven't seen the full thing and I don't remember much about it, so
No,
I can't
well,
really comment.
We'll talk about that one in a very long time, I'm sure. Yeah, and everyone who was working on this really enjoyed working on this. And basically nobody of note is in this movie, except one person who's very much of note, which is Morgan Le Fay, is played by Jessica Walter, who's the mom on Archer and Arrested Development.
Really?
So yeah, and like as soon as I saw her, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. It's such a weird, random little actress to have in this.
I always like when movies have like nobody recognizable in them except for one person,
and they're recognizable for like really random stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I like her a lot, so that's pretty fun. I have a lot of character based trivia on this, which is, first off, unlike Spider-Man, which had 3 characters from the comics, this had a lot more comic accurate characters. Like Morgan Le Fay is from the comics, although her first appearance is in Spider-Woman. I'm pretty sure she's a Spider-Woman villain. And like, okay, so you know the big creature that she's talking to at the start?
I could not tell what the fuck that was supposed to be.
It's supposed to be Dormammu.
That's what I was thinking, but I was like, that's what I was thinking, but at the same time, I couldn't convince myself that that's what it was supposed to be.
They never say what it is, but I read, I think on IMDb, that's supposed to be Dormammu. Who else? Oh yeah, so the Asian guy is Wong, obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
And in the comics, Wong is a bit of a controversial character back then, because he was just a walking stereotype, pretty much.
Isn't that what every comic book character was at the time?
Well,
though?
Every comic book character who isn't white, yeah. But
well, yeah, that's what
like,
I mean.
Yeah, like, so Wong. So this was seen as a pretty ahead of its time kind of portrayal of Wong, because like he was an actual character.
He's an actual character.
Stereotype. No, he's just like a guy. Like he's not. I don't think there's ever any mention to his race or anything. He's not like practicing the mythical Asian arts or anything like that. So that's pretty cool, I guess. And also Clea is from the comics. She's always been Doctor Strange's love interest. And she was married to Michael Crichton, who's the author of Jurassic Park. They were married from 1987 to 2003, so that's pretty cool too. The star on Doctor Strange's costume, which I thought the second I saw this, I was like, this is exactly what this is, especially since this character just had a movie all about her. The star is just the Captain Marvel star. It's the exact same thing.
Oh my god.
On IMDb, it's just like, yeah, we just stole this for Doctor Strange. Or technically, it was the Marvel star, because Captain Marvel was not a lady yet at the time. So it's just that. And I think that might be all I have. Yeah, that's all the interesting stuff I have. And I guess now we have to talk about the movie.
Oh god.
Okay, so we open with a wall of text, which is always the most thrilling way to start a movie, with a reading. And basically, I wrote exactly what it said, but I'm not going to read it. But it basically is just like, there's a barrier that separates us from the unknown, and beyond this is the forces of good and evil, and they're fighting forever, and the fate of mankind hangs in the balance, and whatever. And
pretty much, it's just, there's good guys, there's bad guys, there's magic.
And if they get into Earth, then everybody's going to get fucked.
Dies.
Yeah, but... And then there's a gong, which is always good. And then another line of text, which is like, in every age and time, some of us are called upon to join the battle. And then there's another gong. And then there's the logo for the mystical arts, which is later, I think we learn it's the symbol of light. But it's just like the anarchy A with like another line.
That's what I thought it was when I first saw it.
It's just that with 2 lines. We just focus in on really weird stuff. Like first it's like this candle that's covered in moss or something. It's like a student film basically. And then we get like a tapestry of Zeus or whatever. And I thought it was Lady Death, but it's Morgan Le Fay because I just wanted it to be more interesting than it was.
The entire credits, like while they're like going through the credits and everything, it seemed kind of out of place to me because it was just a bunch of like random like satanic drawings.
Yeah, it is. It's like the start of Catwoman. It's just drawings of things.
Yeah, and just people's like name. Like it has nothing to do with the movie. It's just kind of there.
It's still better than the Spider-Man credits.
Anything's better than Spider-Man stalking people.
Yeah, the looking through the windows. And then we go through space, and we get some horrible miniatures of this planet. And this is when I realized what this is. So Morgan Le Fay is talking to her master, who looks like the bird from the Giant Claw, and he also looks like the devil from Spawn, but it's Dormammu. he's got red eyes and he's surrounded by smoke, which I assume is to cover up the bad puppet, or maybe it's a man in a weird costume.
It could really be either one.
It could be
but
a number of things. It could be an action figure.
The fog is definitely to cover up what it is.
Whatever the horrible effect is. We get some exposition, which is like Morgan failed her master 500 years ago, and then the greatest sorcerer of all time, who I guess is the Sorcerer Supreme, beat the shit out of her, and then Dormammu couldn't claim his victory, and she's like, I've been contemplating my revenge for years, and I won't fail you this time, Dormammu, my master. It's real kinky. It's weird. I don't like how she talks to him. Because I don't know what he is.
I don't like how she talks to anybody, honestly.
No, she's like
it's so creepy.
She's like I don't even know what the appropriate terminology is for her. Morgan is being sent to Earth to find and destroy the sorcerer, so Dormammu can rule the Earth. Then we just cut to some old guy in a weird, like, Snoke-looking bathrobe, and he has some gold bathrobe. But they're still talking. I thought it was over, but they're still talking and about how the old guy...
Big, powerful magic man?
He's a big, powerful magic man. They have to defeat him. And
I like that they don't use the word kill until later in the movie. They keep saying they have to destroy him.
They say destroy, yeah. Again, is that like a weird thing that you couldn't say kill on
I mean, they
CBS?
say it later in the movie.
Yeah, it's the same problem.
That's why
with
it didn't get
Spider-Man.
picked up.
Maybe, yeah, that's the only reason why. Not because it sucks. Then he just falls asleep. The old guy just falls asleep.
I thought he died, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, he was so still.
He's just an old man. And then Morgan, for some reason, only has 3 days to complete her task, which is, I don't know why she has 3 days. Seems like she can have as much time as she wants. Seems like having a time limit is going to mean that she can't win, actually. And apparently the old man's successor will have a magical ring. And so that'll come back later. Then we get some sexy synth on that guitar with that awesome score. And then we get some fucking really cool shots of, like, the New York City streets at night. Like, there's some really good cinematography in this.
It's like one of the better parts of the movie.
Yeah.
It's just like it's not important or anything.
Yeah.
But just it has good cuts.
It's got it's got great establishing shots. It doesn't have like a weird editing problem like Spider-Man did.
Hard cut.
where it's a hard cut to like an old lady robbing a bank and then a hard cut to like a lab or whatever. Like this is much more streamlined. I thought it was just some Asian guy, but it's Wong walks up to the building, and the building has the anarchy symbol on it. And then the credits start again. Like, while they were talking, the credits stopped, and then when Wong's walking, they push back into the credits, and there's only, like, 3 credits left anyway.
It's just whoever they forgot, they just had to throw it in.
But who they forgot is, like, the director and the writers and stuff. The old guy can't stand up on his own, so Wong has to help him up, and then he gives him this picture of Morgan Le Fay, and he's like, Wong, I need you to study this photo for some reason. Not like study what she's capable of, just to study the photo.
Yeah, just look at the picture
just
for a while.
Just look at the picture of a pretty lady. And then we get more exposition about how Morgan joined a satanic cult in the 1400s, and since then she hasn't aged. Morgan is the first of the Dark Ones to cross the threshold, and she's gonna come and fuck his shit up. So, I don't know how he knows this, but the old guy tells Wong to find Stephen Strange, who he hasn't had contact with for years, but later we learn that they've never had contact. Yeah. So I think that was a first draft thing.
Probably, and, well, I mean, no, never mind.
He knows his dad.
Yeah, he knows his dad, but he doesn't know him. So, yeah, that doesn't count.
Maybe I misheard it, but I'm pretty sure that's just a weird continuity error.
Probably.
And then we see the symbol of light again, and this is another awesome cinematography moment where it's the anarchy thing, the symbol of light, and then it turns in, it's like glowing, and then it turns into the actual sun, and it cuts back to New York. It's incredible. It's so cool. And then Wong immediately finds Stephen Strange just in an elevator. He's not Benedict Cumberbatch, I'll tell you that much. He looks like Ron Jeremy.
Yeah, no. That's a bit too far.
You think so?
Yeah.
He's not like gross looking, but he's very 70s looking.
He definitely looks like he came out of the 70s.
He's not a bad looking guy. It's just he
is 70s.
He's not Benedict Cumberbatch. And so Stephen flirts with this nurse named Sarah while they walk through the hospital hallway. And of Doctor Strange's 3 love interests, Sarah's definitely the best one. The other 2 aren't great. I feel bad for her because clearly he's just using her. Because it says that he's a psychiatrist, so I thought this was a mental ward. But thinking back on it, it's not. It's just a hospital, because it has, like, an ER and stuff. So there's this lady who's putting a diaper on a baby doll.
Oh my god!
And
yeah, that was so bad.
I think maybe it was supposed to be a real baby, and since it was on like VHS quality back in the day,
that's definitely what it was.
We didn't watch this one on YouTube. We actually had a really like pretty HD quality copy, like a copy where you could definitely see what's going on a lot more.
Let's just say that baby doll wasn't very convincing.
It's horrible. It's so horrible. I can't believe
I couldn't even tell that she was trying to put a diaper on it. I just could not tell what she was trying to do to it.
I didn't think. Like, I thought, oh, she's crazy. So she's, like, this is a mental institution. This is just, like, a weird, quirky thing. But no, I think that was supposed to be a baby.
Yeah, that probably.
There's also this wheelchair. There's this lady in a wheelchair just smoking in the hospital. Which, I mean, that's very. I guess you can do that in 1978. But I don't think you could. Could you smoke in hospitals? And you could smoke in bars. You could smoke on planes. But hospital?
I don't think you could smoke in a hospital, especially if you're a patient.
No, yeah. That's,
in a wheelchair.
He's just out in the hallways.
Yeah.
You're not even in your room. Yeah, then they just are talking about having sex right in front of all the patients really loudly.
I just like that none of them care.
No, none of them care. It's like, oh, this is what this is. This is the Sam and Diane, will they, won't they?
It's just a normal day for them.
It really is. It's like graphic. They're just talking about it in front of all the cancer patients. And so Steven gives his patient a checkup, and it's this alcoholic lady, and he's just like, "Oh, let's give you more alcohol, I guess, or I'll give you stuff, even though you're like supposed to be a recovering alcoholic." And then we get my favorite shot in the whole thing of New York, so amazing. Again, I need to find out who the cinematographer is. He's really good. I hope this isn't stock footage. I don't think it is.
I'm gonna be so disappointed
really
if
mad.
It's just stock footage.
Well, I read that they shot L.A. for New York, because it's supposed to take place in New York, but they shot in L.A. a lot of the time. There's one shot later where you see the Twin Towers, and that's clearly stock footage, but I hope that this isn't.
It probably is.
It probably is. That would make me really mad. I really like that. Then Morgan Le Fay, she's on Earth, she's in a taxi, gets jumped by a bunch of black kids.
That was the most random shit. There's like a group of like 5 kids, and they jump onto the taxi and start like yelling at her to give them money.
And then she uses like telekinesis to get, and they just run away.
Yeah, she just kind of stares at one of the kids, and then they run away. Like
you hear like a weird like Kill Bill sound effect where it's like wow 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 or whatever, because that's what this whole movie is those sound effects, and some more sweet synth music, and then Morgan's stalking this girl who I really thought she looked exactly like Laurie Strode from Halloween, exactly like Jamie Lee Curtis does in that movie.
Oh my!
I called her
fucking god, yeah.
Like exactly, and this is the same year as Halloween. This is 1978.
Oh, shit, yeah.
So I called her Laurie for most of my notes until we learned that her name is Clea. But yeah, so Laurie is getting. I'm just gonna call her Laurie probably. She gets stalked. And she's checking out a used book stand, and then she gets hypnotized by Morgan. And Morgan right now looks like Cruella de Vil going to a funeral. Like she's got a weird boa look going on in the hair. The old guy shows up and starts talking to Morgan, but like in their minds, like he's Professor X or something. And then after talking in their minds, Morgan just starts talking verbally again, just normally.
Aren't they like pretty far away?
Yeah.
Like it's like a binocular situation from the
it
Spider-Man movie.
It is. I just saw Shazam a second time last night, and they addressed that
really?
kind of thing, and it's really funny. It's really great. Everybody see Shazam. It's way better than this. It's great. And then Morgan just disappears, and it's really bad. She just pops out. They have a shot of her there, and then they just edit to a shot of her not there. They do this later too.
You can really tell because like the camera has like shifted a little bit.
Yeah,
so like you can really tell.
Somebody bumped the tripod. They tried to do it. Yeah, so Laurie Strode is possessed, and this is my favorite part of the entire movie, which happens in like the first 10 minutes, where Laurie Strode pushes an old man off of a bridge.
It's so good.
It's the best part of the movie. And they
show, like, throughout the entire movie, they keep showing it over and over again.
It's funnier every time. And, like, you see different angles later.
Yeah, like, every time they show it, it's at a different angle.
Which is great, because it's in Spider-Man, one of the biggest complaints of that is that they keep reusing footage. But in this, they don't. In this, they just, like, it's actual new stuff, and it's great. That's one of this movie's strong suits for sure. Then Laurie gets unhypnotized and just runs away. She's scared. She runs away. There's some really bad ADR here where like the old man is on the ground and he hasn't splattered. He's not covered in blood, even though it's a pretty high fall.
Yeah, like he definitely should have died from that.
I think the midair shift from old man to dummy probably saved him. So there's these guys who get out of the car, and I think they hit him with the car too, and they're just like, "It's not my fault. It's not my fault."
Yeah,
it's really bad.
It's just like
the old guy's still alive. He just walks up.
He just fucking walks it off like
walks
nothing
it off.
happened.
He's asking about the girl. He's like, "Where's the girl?" Which that's creepy. Yeah, that's a little weird. He heals himself with the first in a very long line of horrible like weird orange lens
Spider-Man
flare
glow
effects. It's the same effect from the spider.
It's the exact same.
Except it's much bigger because that was just on a spider. This is like
his entire hand glows like neon orange.
That isn't good, and there's a lot of that later. That's the main effect.
That's how all of the magic is shown. Like if somebody's using magic for some reason, their entire body or their hands will glow like really bright neon colors.
Yeah, yeah. So Laurie's just back at her house making some tea, and she's changed outfits, even though I'm pretty sure this is like a minute after what just happened. Then the Asian guy. I wrote the Asian guy the whole time because it didn't click with me it was Wong, because I
understood that like right away.
I think after watching Spider-Man, I didn't expect anybody to be anybody.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I think I just wasn't thinking. So Wong tells the old guy that he found Doctor Strange, and the old guy says that Laurie is important to them for some reason, so they gotta go get her. The old guy has this perfect sketch of her somehow.
Yeah.
That he keeps showing. It's like it's an exact photo of her, pretty much, but it's a drawing.
Yeah, but it makes no sense for him to be able to do that.
Don't know if it's like a magic power. He just has it, I'm pretty sure.
He has the magical power to create sketches of people that he's seen like once.
Yeah.
Like
that classic magic ability. Steven goes home and he's watching Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein, which good taste. That's classic. And there's a cut to Laurie, and I thought they were like in the same place, or they switched places because they're both watching Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein.
It's just a weird like transition, but they have the same like because they zoom in on the TV, but the walls behind it doesn't change between transitions.
They have one TV shot, but like two couch shots.
Yeah,
that they keep cutting back and forth to. Stephen falls asleep, and he has the dream about the old guy getting pushed off the bridge.
Okay, during this scene, like when he first gets home, he picks up a Hulk comic.
Does he?
Yes.
How would I?
Did you not
possibly
catch that?
Miss that?
It was like super obvious. He just picks up a Hulk comic and then puts it back down. Like he just looks at it and then puts it down.
Do I not have anything about this?
I guess not, but I wrote down he picks up a Hulk comic.
That's another weird attempt in these CBS movies to like
advertise Hulk.
tie to other stuff.
Was the Hulk show on?
Yeah, it was on.
Then it's probably just advertising.
And remember that spoiler alert, not next week, but the week after that, we're gonna be talking about the Captain America CBS movies. And remember in Spider-Man, that guy had the Captain America shirt. So it's all cross-promotion. There is a cinematic universe. Also,
or it's just CBS trying to advertise.
But let me just mention this. I didn't even think about this when we were doing our Spider-Man one, so I'm just gonna add some retroactive commentary to that one for a minute. So on the side note, Spider-Man, I realized he never learns responsibility because he didn't have an Uncle Ben. There's no Uncle Ben in that. There's no reason for him to want to save people in that. There's no great power comes great responsibility. There's no he's like trying to use his powers for bad, and then his Uncle Ben dies because of that, or somebody dies.
He doesn't have a reason. He just kind of
he just does it.
That's why he does have a reason. He's trying to get a job.
Yeah, he's trying to get a job, but that's not Spider-Man.
He has no reason to be doing anything as Spider-Man.
So anyway, that's just something I was thinking about while I was editing that last episode.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
No, me either. Steven's having a dream about when the old guy gets pushed off the bridge. We get some more angles on that. That's great. It's so funny.
We get I don't know if it's during this one or during like a different time, but we get a like extreme close-up on that old guy's face, and that happens so many times in this movie. There's just like really weird close-ups.
It's so like the rest of this is pretty sanitized, but it's so like that moment is so needlessly violent. Yeah. It's an old man being shoved off a bridge. It's a pretty high bridge.
Yeah, like that would definitely kill any normal person.
Anybody, yeah, that's so funny. Meanwhile, Laurie is also having a dream about Morgan, and we get a really effective shot of Morgan, like, standing over her while she's sleeping. That's a really cool shot.
Yeah.
But then Laurie wakes up, and Morgan's gone, and she runs to the elevator, and then Morgan's there. Like, she sees Morgan while she's on the elevator. She's on a different floor.
Yeah, for some reason, like, the elevator door opens and she's there, and then it just closes.
Yeah,
like,
and then it closes and she's just on, like, the lobby, and then she runs into the street and almost gets hit by a cab, and the cab is like this old guy in a leather jacket. That's pretty cool. And I thought he said that he was gonna take her home, but he takes her to the hospital.
Yeah, okay, this entire, like, part of the movie I did not understand.
No,
so she runs out of her apartment.
Mm-hmm.
This guy puts her in a taxi and takes her to the ER.
He takes her to the ER.
She gets taken to the emergency room for almost getting hit by a car because of a nightmare.
Having no injuries whatsoever and having literally nothing wrong with her.
Why is she going to the ER?
If you think she's crazy, you don't take her to the emergency room. Take her to, like, a psychiatrist or anything. Makes no sense. But, I mean, we can't expect any of this to make sense. This is pretty bad. Like, I was enjoying this while I was watching it, but thinking back on it, this is not very good, is it?
It's the same thing as Spider-Man. It's not good at all, but it's still enjoyable.
It's not as fun as Spider-Man.
It's definitely not as fun, but it's still enjoyable.
If you're gonna watch one of these, watch Spider-Man. Also, you don't have to buy the DVD.
Yeah.
Because Doctor Strange, unless you want to steal it off the internet, it's hard to find. Laurie gets taken to the hospital, and there's this black guy who looks like Black Dynamite, and he has this huge mustache, and he asks, like, what happened, and he calls Steven and tells her to get down there, that's a very specific doctor to call in and be like, there's only this one other guy who can doctor her. Which, now that I'm thinking about it, he's a psychiatrist in this. Which also doesn't make sense, because in the comics and in the MCU, Stephen Strange, he's a surgeon. And the whole point of him finding magic in the first place is he gets his hands fucked up in an accident, and so he can't be a surgeon anymore, so he doesn't really have anything left he can do with his life. So none of that's in this movie.
In this, he just uses magic because he gets told to, and because he has a cool ring.
Yeah, he has a cool ring, which we'll talk about. In the 2016 movie, in a better movie, all of the sorcerers have these things called sling rings, which that's a dumb name, but it's explained.
It rhymes.
It's explained. So. It's fine. Yeah, Steven's there immediately. He's instantly there.
Yeah.
Despite being at his apartment, and he recognizes Laurie from his dream about the old man, where she pushed an old man off a bridge. And they try to figure out what happened to Laurie, and she tells them about pushing that old guy off a bridge, which probably shouldn't confess, and says that she's scared of Morgan. Wong makes the old guy breakfast. How sweet. They have a pretty nice bromance going on. I enjoy it.
And in your notes, this is the moment you realize that it's Wong and not some Asian guy.
That's finally where they say his name, and I felt so stupid because I should have made that connection. But
even I made the connection.
But after Captain Barbera last week, I didn't expect anybody to be comic accurate. Like, Morgan Le Fay being in this, I was like, oh my god, that was like a revelation to me. Laurie's afraid to go to sleep, and so this reminded me of Freddy versus Jason. She's scared of going to sleep, and they're gonna make her take some pills, and she has a freak out.
I was getting real Nightmare on Elm Street vibes from that entire part of the movie.
Which made me just wish I was watching Nightmare on Elm Street instead. So there's this boring medical council meeting where they talk about Laurie and how Steven didn't prescribe medication. He gets all mad about it. And then the guy in charge wants to go see Laurie, and he's an asshole. And the old guy shows up, and he hypnotizes the secretary so he can see Laurie, which is super illegal.
He hypnotizes, 3 people.
It's just a Jedi mind trick. This is a year later. A year after Star Wars, where they clearly just stole this idea. So he does a Jedi mind trick to a bunch of other people. I don't remember who. But basically anybody who gets in his way so he can go see Laurie. And Doctor Strange, he meets Doctor Strange in his office, and Doctor Strange tells the old guy about the dream he had for some reason, and the old guy asks Strange about if he knows anything about psychic bonds. And
why would he know about that?
I don't know. And he asks him if he believes in evil. I don't know. And he says that Doctor Strange and Laurie have a psychic bond for some reason.
Because he can see her attempting to murder an old man.
Murder him. Murder the guy he's talking to right now. And this is where we keep getting cuts, those close-ups of the old guy's face you were talking about, because he keeps remembering. Then he says that he should come to his house so he can save Laurie, which that's weird.
Yeah,
that
doesn't make much sense, but alright.
And Strange thinks he's crazy, understandably, and they shake hands, and he does the orange hand thing. He does the glowy orange hand thing, and so that convinces him that magic is real. So that's weird. And then Clea's just in a coma, or something. Something happens. I think she's in a coma. So Doctor Strange leaves to see the old guy, I guess, to save her. And he notices that the symbol, because the old guy gives him a business card with his name on it. And I didn't know what it said, but I saw that it was Bleecker Street, which is where the thing is in the comics and the movie, so that's cool. And it has the symbol of light on it, and Doctor Strange realizes that on this huge pimp ring he has, also has the symbol of light on it.
Yeah, that ring is fucking massive.
That's a big
It's like
ring.
the size of like his entire finger.
I feel like that would get in the way of your doctor work.
Yeah, well, I mean...
Good thing he's not a surgeon, I guess.
Yeah, he's a psychiatrist, so it doesn't really matter.
No, good, yeah. Maybe that's the only reason why he's not a surgeon.
Because he needed the ring?
Because of the ring. They were like, oh, we'll have this lazy MacGuffin plot device thing. So Morgan causes another little black kid to almost get hit by a bus.
No, Morgan tries to murder him.
Who, the black kid?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think there's some weird
she
racial...
tries to fucking murder a black kid for no reason.
Wong is a pretty progressive character, but they're not the greatest of the black community, especially the adolescent black community in this.
I couldn't even tell what the point of it was.
No, she just wants to murder a black kid.
She just wants to murder a little... Well, like...
I thought she was trying to kill Doctor Strange.
That's what I was thinking.
But
what does a bus, a kid on a bike, and him have to do?
Yeah, okay. So let me set it up for all you listening who shouldn't watch this movie. There's Doctor Strange in the middle, and then he's on the sidewalk, and on the sidewalk is also a little black kid on a bike, and then a bus. What you do is you get the bus, you control the bus driver to hit Doctor Strange, and just leave the black kid out of it. I think Morgan's just a racist, and she wants to wipe out as many black people as she can.
I feel like the three of those things, it sounds like the setup for
a joke?
A Final Destination death.
Yeah,
if you're gonna
exactly.
do something
It's
with
exactly
that.
like that.
Not in a Doctor Strange movie.
It's like, is the bike gonna hit Doctor Strange into the bus or something?
It's like
what's gonna happen, but no.
Nothing happens. Doctor Strange stops the bike and the bus keeps going. Like nothing happens with it.
It's so anticlimactic. That's definitely one of the better moments, I think, despite the weird racism that I don't like. She's trying to stop Strange from getting to the old man, but this is the only time she tries to stop him.
Yeah, and she just fucking gives up.
Yeah. So Strange comes to what I guess is the Sanctum Sanctorum and tells the old guy he got the ring from his father, and this is when we learn that his father knew the old guy. Doctor Strange's dad and the old guy were bros. They were Strange basically. Okay, this is this is ahead of its time. I got real Anakin Skywalker Revenge of the Sith vibes, because basically he wants to learn like ancient powers that he usually would be against learning to save a girl, which, if you recall, that's what Emperor Palpatine did to Anakin because he wanted to save Padme. So he told him about Darth Plagueis the Wise and how he can bring people back from the dead and he can save Padme from dying or whatever. So that's basically what happens here.
If this podcast wasn't for nerds before, it definitely fucking is now.
I'm gonna make it for nerds. It's on Spider Sense. No.
Oh yeah, you're fucking...
I don't have a tangent this week. Much like in Thor 2011. The movie. This movie repeats the same idea that magic and science are like the same thing, which, it's cool. It's pretty cool. In the comics and the 2016 Doctor Strange movie, this is when I was talking about how the car accident wrecked his hands. In this, we learned that his parents were killed in a car accident. So there's still a car accident in this movie. So clearly
There's
they
not one
understood,
that he's involved
but
in.
He's not involved. So his parents were killed in the car accident that he should have been in, maybe? But
yeah, that's what they try to say.
He was 18. He wasn't a surgeon or like a doctor at that point. It's confusing.
Yeah, it's really they try to have like a really weird setup for it.
It's weird to me that the car accident that's usually part of his origin, probably the best known part of his origin, they talk about that in this movie, but he's not involved. Like, just leave the car accident out of it completely.
Yeah, and like they have pretty much the laziest excuse for him not being part of it. He just decided not to go at the last minute.
He's like, I didn't go.
I didn't feel like it.
He's probably, he's chilling at home. He just didn't feel like going to Target or wherever they were going.
Is this just a fucking, maybe it's an alternate universe of Doctor Strange where he didn't get in the car crash?
It's like all the universes where Peter Parker didn't get bit by the spider.
Yeah.
Where like Flash Thompson gets bit or something. Yeah, it's exactly like that. So after much hesitation, Doctor Strange just agrees to let the old guy train him. He's like, all right, well, I have nothing to do. I'm just banging broads, and so I have. That's Doctor Strange's only character is sex.
Yeah, in this movie, that's his entire character.
Yeah, and
that and like his mustache.
it's yeah. He's not a character. He's not really a playboy. He's just kind of a perv, and
yeah, pretty much.
He just loves sex, and he has a ring, and that's it. That is it. He's not
even a magic man.
Another point of Doctor Strange's character in the comics, and definitely in the movie, is that he's an asshole. This Stephen Strange, he's a bit he's not he's fine. He's fine. He's a fine
perv,
guy.
but he's not an asshole.
He's a bit of a perv, but he's not like a weird creep or anything. He just has a lot of sex with women. It's so confusing because this is like what I was talking about with not having an Uncle Ben. There's no redemption factor.
Yeah, he has no reason to do it other than it's somebody else that he can bang after.
Exactly.
Like
two people.
Yeah.
There's no reason, just like there's no reason in this universe for Peter Parker to want to prove himself to anybody or for him to do good because he made a mistake. Doctor Strange isn't an asshole, so he has no reason to want to change himself. There's no reason for
this movie to ever have even happened,
no.
But it just kind of does.
Doctor Strange's character, what I'm trying to say, extremely underdeveloped and pointless. It's weird that he is even in this movie. This movie should be about the old guy and Wong.
Yeah.
It should be about the old guy being defeated and then Wong getting revenge on Morgan Le Fay because his master was killed. That's what it should be about.
Like, I feel like the master and Wong, I feel like they get more screen time than Stephen Strange does.
They have much better chemistry too.
Yeah, they're way better characters and they probably have a little bit more screen time. This is
exactly.
their movie, not his.
It's not Doctor Strange's movie. It's just Doctor Strange is the title character, so he has to be there.
Which he doesn't even become Doctor Strange.
This could be
ever.
This could be like Magic Karate Kid. Like
yeah,
you have the old guy and he's training a younger fellow, and then you have the old guy, but instead in this you make it more like Highlander, where the old guy gets defeated, so his apprentice has to defeat the guy who killed his master. Like there's a really good movie in this, but we don't get to see it because fucking Doctor Strange is the star. Doctor Strange ruins the Doctor Strange movie. I just had that thought now. He shouldn't be.
That makes this movie seem so much worse.
Now I just kind of hate Doctor Strange in this.
That's what makes him an asshole. He ruins the movie.
Yeah. No, not by having any character flaws or where he's horrible to his supportive girlfriend.
Just by existing.
Just by existing in this movie as the main character, he fucking ruins it. God. Anyway,
there's the tangent for the week.
That's the tangent. You know what I should do? I should take each tangent and turn them into YouTube videos, and that's an idea. There you go. Maybe if I get bored enough. This is the most interesting part of the movie, where the old guy says that he's gonna send Doctor Strange into the astral plane. I got really excited because I was like, okay, in the 70s, think about it. We're having a scene in the most LSD-fueled era of a fucking Doctor Strange movie that has already had some really weird effects in it. So I'm thinking we're going on the astral plane. This is going to be crazy. We're going to get crazy shit. And so the old guy says that Clea is on a higher astral plane and Strange needs to go into the fucking weird green screen universe and find her and bring her back. So he also says that there's like monsters and demons and shit in there. And so I was getting really hyped for this. I was so excited.
And you were so disappointed.
This is the most this is just a bummer.
It's a big letdown.
But he's supposed to say, in the name of Rael, scourge of demons, I command you, be gone. That's the magic word.
The magic words.
Magic words. We're just gonna call it Alakazam. We see Doctor Strange fall through a bunch of colors, and this is pretty cool. He's just falling through colors.
This is this movie's acid trip.
This is It's no MCU acid trip, that's for sure.
Definitely not, but it's
not the worst. It's just kind of disappointing.
It's an acid trip for somebody that's been taking acid for years.
Yeah, it's somebody who really needs to move on to a better drug, a better hallucinogen.
That's a horrible thing to say.
Yeah, probably shouldn't. Don't use drugs. We don't condone drug use on the show.
Unless it's acid.
Unless it's fucking tripping balls. So we see Doctor Strange falling through all the colors. It looks a lot like the Quantum Realm from Ant-Man. He's just kind of like floating around in forever.
Yeah, kind of.
That's a cool visual. Morgan has a Snow White-esque magic mirror, and she tells this Black Knight on like a unicorn, I think, to stop Doctor Strange.
Is it a puppet? I couldn't tell. It was
what? The horse? The horse is real.
Like,
I think it's a guy in a suit.
Okay.
I think it's real.
I felt like it was way too floppy to have been an actual person.
I think it's just a person who doesn't know how to ride a horse.
Probably.
So yeah, he's like, go stop Doctor Strange. So Clea's like tied up in this web of silly string. We talked last week about how Spider-Man's webs were silly string. That was a little bit of an exaggeration, I realized, because in this it literally is.
It's literally just silly string.
It's not. There's no attempt to make it look like anything else. Doctor Strange frees her, and then the Black Knight shows up, and Strange says the Alakazam. He says the magic words, and he runs away. And I was so disappointed.
He doesn't even run away. He just collapses.
Yeah, there's no fight though.
Yeah, it's really disappointing.
That,
and then he leaves.
This is some horrible orange laser beams go into Clea's body and wake her up. I don't know.
Why not? It's magic.
It's magic. Oh dear Lord. So in my notes, this is why we have the explicit tag on this podcast. If you're listening with impressionable children for some reason,
if you're an impressionable child,
skip ahead 15-30 seconds. I've written in my notes, Morgan just wants some dick,
and it's not wrong at all.
What this means is, think about Disney's Hercules, where Megara just wants a guy. That's the whole reason she's serving Hades, is she wants a guy, and she wants love or whatever. The whole reason that Morgan Le Fay is serving Dormammu is because she wants love. But in both cases, it's not like true love. It's a weird, lusty, sexual love.
Yeah, like literally, at this point, her only goal is to fuck Doctor Strange. That's her goal.
Not even fuck Doctor Strange, just fuck anybody.
I mean,
fuck anything that moves.
Knight, come back.
Yeah, this is, oh my god. Her master shows her true, gross, old form. Dormammu shows her what she would look like if she was gross and old. And
okay, I made a terrible joke about this.
I'd love to hear it.
I said that if she doesn't do what Dormammu wants, she's just gonna become Brian May for all of eternity.
Oh no!
Am I wrong? That's what.
No,
that's
it looks
what
like Brian May. It's got the hair.
And, I feel so bad about it, but at the same time, it's so accurate.
At the same time, Brian May is a fucking rock star. He's lived his life. It's okay. We don't have to be nice.
He's
to
old,
May.
But that's fine.
Yeah, we love you, Brian May. You've done a lot of great work for the music industry. But yeah, you're fucking old. You're old. I thought it was like a George Washington-esque thing with the wig.
A little bit.
But yeah, so point is, she's old. It's a horrible rubber mask when she's old, which I found out when I was doing my research, that they got like a mold of Jessica Walter's face. They got they just got a weird mold of her face. She was covered in clay, and they took that and just made it old. So I guess that's interesting. That's better than just buying like a mask from Spirit.
It's a decent way to do it.
It's not horrible. It's just funny.
Yeah, the effect doesn't. You can tell that it's like very obviously fake, it doesn't look that bad.
What I find really funny in any because this is a classic fantasy trope where you have this woman who or guy or whatever, you have this person who has like her magical powers give them like eternal life, and I think it's so funny when you see what they would look like if they didn't have that, and they're just like 30 years older when she's been around since the 1400s, so she clearly would be like a skeleton. But no, she's like 80.
I wish like somebody would change this trope to where like they don't turn old, they're literally just dead.
I would like to see she looks at the reflection and it's her reflection, and then it gets older and older like rapidly, and then all the skin starts coming off.
Yeah,
like Raiders of the Lost Ark, the face
melting.
Yeah, that's what I want. That'd be awesome. You hear that, Hollywood? Give me one scene in a fantasy movie. Dormammu says that if she doesn't if she has to either kill the sorcerer or bring her to Dormammu, but she definitely has to kill Doctor Strange for some reason. Anyway, back we see Clea, and she's playing pool, and she's not very good at it. But Doctor Strange creepily walks up behind her and starts flirting with her, which is when I noted that this is a little odd. She's like 19 and he's 33. This gets a lot weirder later. Right now, actually. This movie's idea of women are that all they want is sex. Actually, its idea of men is also kind of all that I want. So not idea of men, their idea of the main character.
Yeah.
Everybody is just, that's all anybody wants in this, which the reason I'm mentioning it so much isn't to be sophomoric or anything. It's to show that this movie's character development
is bad.
Is really non-existent. When you have, I think Doctor Strange has showed up in like 62, so you have about 16 years of character development for him. And this
and you
is
don't
just...
use any of it?
No, exactly. That's the only reason I bring it up, is because I feel like there's so much more to these characters.
I think it's funny that in this movie, the main character is so much more, like, character inaccurate when it had Stan Lee involved.
Yeah, and this is Stan Lee's favorite CBS thing, or this and Hulk. Which
Spider-Man was more accurate.
Spider-Man
and Stanley
got
hated
Peter
that.
Parker right in a lot of ways, at least aesthetically, and from, like, he's a photographer.
They
just couldn't get his career right.
They actually have his suit in the movie.
Yeah, they do. Oh, I can't wait to talk about the costume.
It's so, oh my
it's
god,
so funny.
That's
so
like right
funny.
at the end of the
yeah,
movie.
That's
that'll
gonna
come up in like
a
couple
while
minutes.
away. Yeah, exactly. There's not as much to talk about in this one, is there?
Nope.
They're gonna have dinner that night. They're having a walk, I think, and they're gonna have dinner. That may be uncomfortable because they're not gonna go out to a restaurant. They're gonna have dinner at Clea's place, which can only lead to one thing.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that. Doctor Strange goes to the Sanctum Sanctorum and says that he's like, "Fuck you, Wong. Fuck you, old guy." And Wong's like, I wasn't even part of this. That's just rude. Doctor Strange says he doesn't want anything to do with them, and he's like, "Fuck you guys. I'm gonna go have a creepy dinner." he tries to take his ring off. I don't remember why. He just tries to take it off, but it won't come off. Strange picks up this black cat that is so obviously Morgan Le Fay. It's not like he's never read a fantasy novel or like seen a movie.
Yeah, it's a fucking black cat with weird eyes.
What about like Edgar Allan Poe's The Black Cat?
Have you never seen a normal black cat versus this black cat?
in a moment where you're in front of one of the most magical buildings in probably the world, where you're well aware of the sorcery that goes on there, and you probably at least know about basic superstition.
And he's like, "Are you from here?" And he just tosses it in.
It's just like, he just assumes it's their cat.
Like, he's been there a couple times and he's never seen a cat.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Also, he doesn't tell Wong or the old guy. I know he's kind of pseudo mad at them, even though they left on a pretty friendly note.
Yeah.
But he just doesn't tell them that he's gonna put the cat in.
Throws the cat
like, is this
in.
your cat? He just throws it in. There's a pretty cool effect where where the cat transforms back into her.
It looks kind of weird.
It looks weird, but it's what it is. It's no Harry Potter effect, but it's not bad. Anyway, Wong and Morgan. This is when stuff starts to get pretty funny. Wong and Morgan start to have a magical duel, and it's very awesome and very terrible. And
very neon.
It's just lightning. It's just like, again, Harry Potter. If you've ever seen any fight from Harry Potter, it's that. It's red lightning versus, like, usually green lightning. I think in this is probably orange, because this movie loves orange.
I think Wong is, like, orange, and then
Morgan's red.
Yeah.
It looks very Scarlet Witch.
Yeah,
is what I was thinking. And, yeah, they have a fight. I thought she killed Wong. That's not what happened.
But she does make a weird, like, circle of fire around him for no reason.
That's real.
What? That's real fire.
That's real fire.
That is dangerously close to him.
And this is a funny story from behind the scenes. So Wong didn't want to do that.
Yeah, I wonder why.
And whoever they had, whatever effects supervisor or stunt coordinator they had, was like, "Oh, is he a fucking pussy? Does he not want to be surrounded by fire? It's just fire. What does he think's gonna happen? It's fire."
He's wearing, like, he's flammable.
Yeah, he's wearing like a very floppy bathrobe.
Yeah.
Which I assume is extremely flammable, because there's no safety precautions in the 70s.
He is completely surrounded by fire.
He's not wearing like a mask or anything.
Yeah.
It's open face, open flame, those are two things that you don't want that close to each other.
Not at all.
Yeah, so also, now that I'm thinking about it, and when I say now that I'm thinking about it, looking at my notes, I remember thinking that the lightning looks exactly like the proton packs from Ghostbusters. Like, it's that effect. It's the exact same thing, even though this is like 6 years beforehand.
Yeah, it's still the same.
I'm not gonna say that that one of the best comedies ever made of all time stole fucking the lightning from Doctor Strange, but that just has to be that's like a stock plug-in, I'm
Probably.
sure. Yeah, so Morgan just walks around the Sanctum Sanctorum for like 3 minutes.
Yeah, it's like pretty much a recreation of the entire scene that Wong had in the very beginning,
Yeah,
where he was just kind of wandering
same
around.
Thing.
It's the exact same shots.
Which, that's pretty funny. I'm gonna use this similar situation from the first Friday the 13th. There's a famous scene where the main character makes coffee for like 3 minutes, and you see the entire process. That's what this reminds me of. It's just like, you're just watching this, and it's like, if this was a movie now, you would see like 10 seconds of this, not 3 minutes.
It's silent. There's no, like...
It's like you're watching The Strangers. it's like people walking around a house, and
like,
you're tense, but
there's not even any footstep sound effects. There's no music, there's no footsteps. You're just watching her walk through the Sanctum Sanctorum with no sound.
Yeah, there's no sound design on that. Maybe they had to cut the sound budget around this point, which is funny because all they used is stock lightning sound effects. Although, what much better sound design than in Spider-Man, I think. I think as a film, this is way better than Spider-Man. This seems like it looks better, it has higher production value, and everybody is a lot more committed to this. But Spider-Man's more fun because it's worse. But you just want to note that this is a better movie than Spider-Man. It's just not as interesting.
This is a better movie, but not a better narrative.
No, and it's not as funny at all.
It's really not.
Anyway, at this point, the old guy is in costume. He's in his weird gold snow robes again.
That fucking pose had me laughing for so long.
I think I paused it because it was so funny.
I did too.
I just didn't know what I was watching.
It was fucking hilarious. I
felt,
love it.
I just felt like I stumbled across like somebody's weird home movies from when they were like 10, when they're playing wizards and they're in bathrobes. Something I would have done.
For anybody that can't see it, kind of looked like he was trying to T-pose. But like his
arms
were a little higher.
His arms were just raised like he's Jesus. Happy Easter, everybody! We're recording this on Easter.
Oh my god!
But yeah, maybe he is Jesus. I don't know. If this was Zack Snyder's Doctor Strange. But yeah, I thought there was gonna be a cool duel, but it's another horrible fight where they just deflect different lightning at each other. And not to use another Star Wars reference, but it's like the end of Attack of the Clones where Yoda and Count Dooku just throw lightning back and forth. It's like that. It's pretty funny too. And then I thought Morgan killed the old guy, but no, he's alive. Oh no. And then this is a scene I really don't like, where Clea lets Doctor Strange into her apartment, and it's very porny.
Oh god.
He asks for a bath. He asks if Cleo will run him a hot bath, and that I don't need that visual of a 19-year-old bathing a 33-year-old in my head.
Neither do
If that's what you guys are up to, I don't need to know about it. Good for you, I guess.
You do you, but leave it out of the fucking movie, please.
Don't put it in our superhero movie. And I think there's some kissing going on. Not graphic, but there's a little bit of kissing.
And it's
still weird. It's weird enough. Morgan shows up. Clea just passes out. Because that's what women do. They just faint at the slightest sight of danger, apparently. You know who would love this movie? Brie Larson. She would just love this movie. She would love it. She'd love their portrayal of women. Morgan tells Doctor Strange to follow him. He just does. They go to another realm. Morgan's wearing a very skimpy outfit, and she's like, "Oh, do you think I'm hot?" And Doctor Strange is like, "Yeah," because that's what he does. So she's like, "What do you most desire, Doctor Strange? Is it power?" And she gives him power, which is a necklace.
Yeah,
it's a weird golden chain. She zaps some lightning, and Doctor Strange can also zap some lightning, and it's the lightning of the gods.
Yeah, I think I wrote something about it, but I'm not. I think I said that Doctor Strange was becoming Thor.
Yeah, he basically is, or Shazam, honestly.
Yeah.
Any lightning-based thing, which lightning isn't Doctor Strange's most well-known power, is it?
Not even close.
And there is a Thor in the CBS universe, not at this point, but we'll get to
it.
Well, in one of our Hulk episodes, we'll talk all about it.
No.
I'm really excited for those Hulk episodes. People really like those Hulk ones. I think they're gonna be really fun. I can't wait to get to those. We're not too far away. Morgan and Strange start to kiss, and I was mad because he should be with Sarah, and you can really see Morgan's nipples through her top. It's a very revealing outfit, I don't think it was meant to be that scandalous. They start to make out, and I think they're gonna start having sex, but then they stop because Morgan wants Doctor Strange to take off his ring.
He's like, no.
He's like, I literally can't. There's nothing I can do. So she's like, oh look, I have the old man strung up in vines, and it's really scary. It's really effective. Yeah, actually, it's good. It's a good looking.
It's definitely one of the like really good effects.
Yeah, because it really does look like he's just strung up dead.
He seriously looks like he's fucking dead.
He looks really pale and ghostly. It's awesome. There's some really cool shit.
And he doesn't
around this point.
Like they cut to him a couple times, and every time they do, he never blinks.
No, it's scarier each time.
Yeah, like
I don't. That's some good work, I think. So he tries to do the magic Alakazam words, and they don't work.
Oh yeah, okay. She says something so fucking rapey.
Oh no.
In this scene,
Oh, no.
I wrote it down because it was so bad. I don't remember what the context is, but she says, "I'll take my pleasure from you in another way," and then pushes him to the floor.
I don't like it.
I don't like it. I didn't like
Men
that at
can be
all.
raped too. I don't like that.
And
at
then
all.
in parentheses, I put JonTron rape whistle. So
I'll put that in.
right.
Yeah, so Morgan shoots some lightning at Doctor Strange. There's something with fire around here again. I don't remember what it is.
I think he shoots fire out of his hands.
That's pretty cool then. But Morgan shoots some lightning at Doctor Strange, and without any training at all, he can deflect it.
Yeah.
Which I was reading. I don't like reading a lot of reviews before we cover a movie because I'm afraid I'll just repeat everything they say. So I read like a few sentences off the top of whatever was on like Rotten Tomatoes or wherever. And a lot of people's biggest complaint is that there's no training.
Nope.
That he just has every power.
There's no time.
Absolutely true. He just has everything. Stephen Strange is back in the sanctum with the old man again. They're back. They're fine. Morgan has... Oh, yeah, this is the end of the movie.
Yeah, this is literally
Holy
the end
shit,
of the movie.
I forgot. Oh my god. Jesus. Okay, so a little behind the scenes. We're at about a minute and 11 seconds. Yeah, we're at about
hour and 11 minutes.
We're at about an hour and 11 minutes.
1 minute and 11 seconds.
Sorry.
We got through the entire the entire movie in record time.
I wish that's how long I had to talk about this movie for. But yeah, so it's only been about an hour and 11 minutes, and on top of me editing all this, it's gonna be a lot shorter than the last one because the last one was almost 2 hours.
Yeah,
and I edited about half an hour out of that.
The last one was I think it was an hour and like 45 minutes of like recording.
And I edited it down to about an hour. I edited about 15 minutes, which is that's like dead space and tangents I didn't think were as funny.
Yeah.
Were funny enough to leave in there. So that's This is gonna be a shorter one. I apologize, but maybe that's what you want. So they're all back, and Morgan's failed Dormammu. And this is the kinkiest moment in the movie, maybe, where he makes her beg for death. Remember?
Oh,
He's like, oh, I want you to get down on your knees and beg me to be murdered or whatever. And that's weird.
And then she becomes Brian May.
Yeah, and then she does become Brian May. Yeah, she becomes Brian May, which apparently is the worst fate of all time, to become old. Elderly listeners, which I'm sure we have none of.
Yeah, I would be surprised if we somehow did.
I'm sorry how you guys are represented in media as the worst thing ever. You're all right. I'm sorry. Don't let it get you down if you're watching Doctor Strange from 1978. So for about what seems like 20 minutes, she begs to be for him to answer her, and she doesn't get a response, and that's it.
Yep, that's it.
I think that might be the last time we see her.
Yeah, it is. There's literally
we see her at the end.
Oh yeah.
But we'll talk about that.
There's like 5 minutes left of the movie.
Yeah. So we're back in the sanctum. Wong is still alive. The old man's still alive. Everybody's all right because this was going to be a TV show. You can't just kill off all these characters. The old man makes fun of Doctor Strange's costume, which is this is the more comic accurate costume of the two that he has.
That's what I was gonna say. It's
got
so
like
much more accurate.
It's got like the red Dracula cape that with the things that come up. It's got the necklace.
I like it better than the fucking pajamas that he gets.
I hate the last costume because I was like, all right. When you look at the CBS costumes, you have the Hulk one, which is probably the worst one, but it does what it needs to do. It shows that it's a green monster. It's fine. Like, it's fine.
It's not that hard to show off.
Not that hard. Spider-Man
is probably
Spider-Man costume is really good. Captain America costume is really bad.
Yeah, I've
Have you
seen
seen it?
It looks
Yeah.
like a fucking motorcycle helmet.
It is.
Oh, no.
It is a motorcycle.
Well, yeah, that's
helmet.
what I meant.
Yeah, and he I'm not excited for those Captain America movies. I've seen the second one.
I've seen like one scene from one of them, and he throws his shield, and the guy just kind of stands there for a whole minute waiting for the shield to come back.
It's so horrible. I'm so sorry for everybody when we talk about those, which will be very soon. I'm afraid. Anyway, so yeah, that's a really bad costume. The costume he has at first is pretty good, and
I actually really liked that one.
I liked it too. It's very zany 70s. I liked it a lot. And then they just fuck it up because of course we can't have nice things. Yeah, the old man makes fun of it and then says that Doctor Strange is going to be trained to become a sorcerer, but he doesn't have to give up love, which he doesn't have love. He has lust. There's a definite difference. Again, the third prequel analogy I have is that in that the Jedi aren't allowed to love each other. That's why Padme and Anakin have like a weird forbidden love thing going on.
Well, I mean,
so
I don't think he cares much because
no.
They say specifically that he can't have kids.
No, he can't have kids.
So, I mean...
Wait a minute. That might be good for him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He doesn't care. He can't have kids.
So
it's impossible for him to have kids.
Can't have kids. Yeah, so apparently the old man... Oh, yeah, part of the old man goes into Doctor Strange, not in a sexual way, not in a weird sexual way, despite all the weird sexual undertones of this movie.
Yeah.
No, but some part of his power, I guess, like Voldemort, goes into... This is just full of Harry Potter and Star Wars like references. I'm sorry.
I think it's just you being a fucking nerd.
I don't want to bog this down, but there's a lot of similarities. It's almost like all sci-fi is the same. That's a fucking hot take. This is where he gets this purple and yellow costume. And this is also, like I said, it has the Marvel star. It has the Captain Marvel's just star. It's the exact same thing.
And Doctor Strange has never had a star on his costume, correct?
No, not really. Or at least not that star that represents the Kree.
Yeah, not a giant star on his chest meant for an alien race.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah, so yeah, this yellow ball shows up. And the yellow ball is the ancient one, apparently. And so Strange has magical powers, but he doesn't have the wisdom to use them. So in all the episodes that follow, right, Randy? All the episodes that follow this, he's gonna learn the powers and the wisdom to control all of the powers, the winds of Watum, the boots of Klikator, or what all the dumb shit. He's gonna learn all that. The crimson bands of whoever the fuck, like all the dumb Doctor Strange shit. He's gonna learn. But at this point, he has lightning, and that's it.
And fire.
Back at the hospital, Clea and Doctor Strange go on another walk, but it's the same walk.
It's the exact same walk.
And so...
With the exact same conversation.
This is actually a kind of interesting ending, because it is the same conversation, and I think Doctor Strange knows it's the same conversation.
Yeah, he definitely knows.
So it's kind of like this is a weird reference. I don't even know if I should make this.
No.
It's kind of like a Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, the Dream Master time loop thing, where it's just the same thing over and over again. So they're in a weird time loop, and and then Morgan is on the TV, and she's young, and I don't know why.
I didn't understand. They don't explain it either because it's right at the end of the movie.
It's at the end,
and it makes no sense.
Probably supposed to be explained in like the episodes.
Probably.
So Strange and Clea have the exact same conversation, and I was wondering, so this is a time loop. And Morgan is hosting these magical seminars. I don't know what they do. I think it's like self-help things, but magical. This is how the fucking movie ends. There's some street magicians, and they entertain a crowd, and they suck. And Strange just fucks up his trick. And then it ends with a freeze frame of Doctor Strange smiling, and then it's over.
Well, actually, it doesn't freeze on his face. It freezes on a drawing of his face.
Oh, no. It freezes on his face, which fades into a drawing of his face. What the fuck? It's so funny. And then we get the end credits. So... how many bamboo sticks out of 10, Franny?
I will give this 5 Brian May wigs out of 10.
5? I'm gonna say 6 and 1/8 because there's some really funny stuff and there's some great cinematography in there.
I do like some of like the cinematography and like some of the like transitions and everything, and I think that Wong and like the Master, they're probably like the best part of the movie.
Yeah,
I actually genuinely like them. But other than that, the movie is kind of slow.
Yeah,
There's some parts the movie never actually like picks up in my opinion.
No.
There's just some parts that are slightly faster, and then it just slows down to like a snail's pace again. And this movie's an hour and a half, and it feels like it takes forever.
Even when they're going to like the astral plane, it doesn't pick up. It
it's
feels
too
like
short.
It's too short. All the magical stuff is too short.
There's probably like maybe
like 5 minutes.
5 minutes combined.
And there's a lot of stuff, boring shit in this movie that I didn't like even write down. Like there's a lot of downtime that didn't mention. Which in Spider-Man I mentioned pretty much every scene because every scene is funny.
Yeah, everything was hilarious.
Has something happening. This has its funny moments, but
they're not that funny. They're not funny enough to mention.
Other than the old guy getting pushed off the bridge, that's funny. But I think a big problem with this, which this is going to be confusing. I don't know how to put this, but the biggest problem with Doctor Strange is that it's kind of a better movie, but it's more it's way slower. So basically, Spider-Man, that movie isn't slow, but it's way worse as a movie, but that makes it funnier. This movie is a more competently made film, but it's more boring. So would you rather have a boring, better made thing or a funnier, more interesting bad thing?
I think we already know the answer to that question.
I think everyone would probably pick like a funnier thing, because
no matter how good,
nobody wants to be bored. This is what we were talking about last week with the difference between funny bad and boring bad.
Yeah,
this isn't boring bad. This is boring.
This is
fine.
Boring good.
This is kind of like boring good, which is worse, honestly, because it's not boring good like a drama is. It's boring good like going to church. I don't know.
Like, okay,
I don't know.
I feel like if it's well made, but like if it's a well made movie, but it's boring, you're too busy being bored to actually notice that anything's good, and then you don't care.
When the good parts happen, it's not as interesting. Like when there's competent scenes in Spider-Man, I'm like, oh shit, I didn't expect that from this movie. When there's competent scenes in this, I'm like, these are the only patches of enjoyment in this.
Yeah, like,
or the rest of it.
By the time there's anything kind of good, you've already lost interest, so you don't really care.
Out of it. When you think Doctor Strange, you think crazy, mind-bending, trippy shit.
There's one scene of that.
Very little of that. There's funny moments. There's some pretty decent stuff, but that's super outweighed by the boring stuff and the time-killing stuff, which is probably why this didn't get picked up.
Yeah, I think this is gonna sound really stupid. So in this movie, there's more Doctor than Strange.
Yeah, no, that's pretty smart.
Like it's just
put that on a DVD.
Because most of the movie happens in the hospital.
Oh shit!
But
that's
like
good. That's some good work.
Literally, the entire movie takes place in the hospital, and barely anything weird happens other than people glowing and kind of shooting like
lightning at each other on a green screen
for a total of 5 minutes when the movie's an hour and a half.
Yeah, and the other hour and 25 is either like weird forced hookups or like a weird or like a medical drama.
Yeah. This is a medical drama, not a Doctor Strange movie.
Which is not what you want.
This isn't a superhero movie. It's a medical drama.
I guess what we're trying to say is the biggest problem with this movie is it's extremely unbalanced in the way that the scale is tipping 90% to medical drama, boring like soap opera stuff, and then 10% fun stuff. Even when some of that soap opera stuff is like, it's not horribly made, it's not interesting.
Yeah, and it's not what we came for.
No,
we came for fucking people throwing black holes at each other,
which is what we want. Which obviously we can't expect the 2016 Doctor Strange.
Yeah,
we can't expect that. That's not. But we can
expect something.
That isn't the expectation we have. The expectation we have isn't for this to be a revolutionary, mind-bending thing. The expectation we have is for this to be fun.
Yeah, we're just looking for some okay 70s effects. Pretty much, we're looking for more of what that 5 minutes of the movie showed.
Which there's not enough of that. The reason I infamously give a lot of bad comic book movies a pass, which I have become pretty well known for doing because I like a lot of dumb movies, is because a lot of the superhero movies people really don't like are fun, and a lot of what comic books are supposed to be is just fun, even if it doesn't always make sense and there's a little bit of downtime.
It's called entertainment.
It's
for
entertainment.
A reason.
A lot of the movies I really like, you can just shut your brain off and enjoy, which obviously there's a difference between a movie that isn't great but has fun and a movie that's just really fucking bad and nonsensical. I'm not saying superhero movies shouldn't make sense. I'm saying that to a degree, superhero movies don't always have to play by the same rules as other things because they're based on such ridiculous stories. And the problem with Doctor Strange is that this is based on some of the most ridiculous comics of the entire era and maybe of the entire company.
And there's not enough weird shit in it.
Not enough of that represented.
It's just not weird enough.
I'm looking.
That's what it is.
No, exactly. Like you said, yeah, it's not strange enough at all.
It's too much Doctor,
It's too
not
much
enough
Doctor,
Strange.
not enough Strange. Which that's fucking good. That's some good work. I'm looking around the room where we have a bunch of DVDs of much better superhero movies around, and I'm thinking even the ones that I don't like as much. I'm looking at you, X-Men Origins Wolverine. They have zany elements that they're not boring. Most of these are not boring, which is why I'm kind of scared about watching the Captain America ones, especially the first one. It's because I expect that one to be kind of boring. Because what are you going to do with that?
Yeah,
I'm going to give it a chance and hope that it's as funny as Spider-Man was.
It's definitely not going to be.
I'm going to do that to everything. Hulk, I'm going to give a chance to be good or to be funny or like... I want all of these to be fun and good. Even if they're not like, I'm not looking for all these to be stupid. I'm looking for some of them to be a bit silly because of when they're made and the limitations. I'm looking for some of these to be really well made films based on characters that I've grown up loving. But Doctor Strange's problem
is none of those.
It's none of what I want. It's not ridiculous fun, and it's not comic accurate character study. It's just boring. It's boring.
There's nothing
bland.
else to say about it. It's just a boring hospital drama
when it could be
with
so
magic
much
elements
more.
in it.
Yeah, it's just kind of disappointing. And I feel like the one thing that this does do for me is give the 2016 Doctor Strange a lot more credit when I think about how that movie captures the character, because that movie, the central focus is Stephen Strange's redemption. When the central focus of this isn't that at all. There's nothing that he needs to redeem himself for in the first place.
Is there even a focus in this movie?
No, there's not. And like we talked about halfway through, the focus should be on Wong and his master. Like, that's what it should be about.
That would have made a much better movie, even in this time when there's not like that great of effects or anything. It still would have made a good movie.
Yeah, and you can still have effects heavy things. Like, look at Planet of the Apes, which is 10 years before this, when obviously Doctor Strange isn't going to have the budget that Planet of the Apes did, a major Hollywood film, but that is an effects driven movie. And if you're doing Doctor Strange, which is all about magic and sorcery and wisdom and just crazy stuff, you can use whatever the technological limitations are at the time and push those when you're doing something this crazy. And this movie doesn't even have the balls to do that at any point.
Not even close.
So this is just kind of disappointing. So I'm going to give this 5 sexual harassment lawsuits out of 10.
I think talking it over has made my score go down even lower from 5.
I was originally pretty keen on this. I was having a good time. But when I think about what this should have been and what this actually is, it's not as fun or exciting or interesting remotely as I wanted it to be.
Yeah, like, when you first watch it, you wouldn't say that it's a bad movie. Like, it's kind of entertaining in some places. So, like, it's not like it's unbearable or anything. Like,
yeah.
But when you think of what this movie could have been, it just kind of ruins how it is now, because it's just nowhere near what it could have done.
Like, watching this again, I feel like the thought of watching this again gives me a headache. Like, I would gladly watch Spider-Man again.
Me too. I would not want to watch this movie again.
No, watching it again just seems like dreary.
I wouldn't even recommend anybody to watch this like a first time.
I would. If there's like some of the best parts on YouTube, maybe if it's like 5 minutes, but if you can find the scene of the old man getting pushed off the bridge.
Yeah, if you can find.
But that one moment
doesn't make up for the entire movie.
And also that one moment, just thinking about the funny parts that we talked about, that does not represent the entire thing as a whole. That represents the parts that we want to mention on the show because we thought you guys would think they were funny. We didn't talk about, like, since most of what we talk about is the funnier stuff, we miss out on a lot of the just boring shit. Like when we were talking about that scene where it's Morgan walking around the sanctum for 3 minutes, that's way more representative of what this movie is than any of the magical stuff. It's not fun like you think it's gonna be. It's not what you want it to be at all.
And
at least it wasn't what we wanted it to be.
I think the amount of time that we spent talking about this movie should show how boring we thought it was, because pretty much when we were doing Spider-Man, we talked about it the entire hour and 45 minutes. Like that was the entire time just us talking about Spider-Man.
Yeah.
On this one, it was probably maybe an hour of it, and we're up to an hour and a half at this point. We just don't have much to say about it because a lot of it is just kind of boring.
It's kind of bland, which is what I was scared when I thought of doing this show. I was kind of worried about maybe we would get bogged down with a lot of boring stuff in the start. Spider-Man, that was a hidden gem. That was really fun and silly, and that's exactly what I wanted on the show. And
I'm glad that's what we started with.
Yeah,
that was a good way to start.
That built up a lot of goodwill, I think. And I hope that Captain America isn't like this. I hope it's more fun. I hope a lot of this is more fun. As soon as I think we're done with these CBS ones, as soon as we get to
Howard the Duck,
as soon as we get to Howard the Duck and the Punisher and the 1990 Captain
forward,
America movie,
it's gonna be so much more fun.
An incredible ride. All episodes, we're gonna everything's gonna feel like last week did, with that Spider-Man. And I still had a fun time watching Doctor Strange, and I had a really fun time talking about it. But the more I talk about it, the more I dislike it, which sucks. Also, we're in a position where our job is to take notes and analyze these movies, where maybe if you were just watching this without taking notes, it would feel breezier, or maybe it would feel even harder because we get to kill some of that dead time taking notes and thinking about what we're going to talk about. So I feel like if I was watching this just as a viewer, I don't even know if I would make it all the way through.
I feel like I would have stopped watching it probably not even halfway through, because it's just nothing happens. It's
clearly there was some passion put behind this, and everyone seemed to really enjoy working on it, and people aren't horrible in it. There's no awful performances. It's just that it isn't interesting. I
don't think there's anything awful about the movie.
No,
it's just not enough to keep your attention.
Well, if I did watch this all the way through, I think I would think it was a fun enough time with enough little wacky things that I would remember. But I don't think I would recommend watching this to anybody else, because we like watching weird nerdy shit. A lot of people, that isn't their thing. And so if that's not your thing, definitely don't check this out. And even if that is your thing, I don't think this is fun enough to warrant you watching this.
Even if you have even if you watch it with friends, it's probably still not enough.
No,
there's not even enough to make fun of.
No, it's not like Spider-Man, where everything in Spider-Man
you can make fun of.
It's hilarious.
It's so easy. But in this, everything is a little bit more professional, I guess. And it's a little bit more well-made, so it's harder to make fun of it because there's just nothing to make fun of.
Exactly.
It's actually
it's pretty competent.
Sometimes,
which makes it not fun.
Yeah. It kind of ruins anything you can make fun of.
Yeah, by being a better movie, it ruins itself, which is that's a weird situation, but I feel like some movies do fall into that category of not being fun enough to be a good fun movie, not being serious enough to be a good character study, but also just being being that level of kind of just boring with a sprinkling of interesting moments. That's the worst kind of movie, I think. Is one that's just uninteresting. And not to be harsh, but I completely see why this one wasn't picked up while the others were, or while Hulk and Spider-Man were picked up by CBS, and this pilot didn't get this one picked up. Because even though it's well made, those ones have a lot more fun with those characters, I think. When there's no excuse, it's not like Doctor Strange is an inherently dark character. Hulk is a big green rage monster. Spider-Man is a guy who climbs the fucking walls. Doctor Strange is a guy who's a master of the mystical arts. They're all on the same level of ridiculousness.
Doctor Strange is literally a guy that destroys reality.
Doctor Strange is the craziest one of all, and he's probably the most boring to watch out of these. We're not going to get to the Hulk ones for a little while, because we're not talking about the Hulk TV show as it is at this time period. We're not going to talk about it until it got revived with the movies. But I can pretty much guarantee at this point that those Hulk movies are going to be 1,000 more times fun than this, because I've seen some of the Hulk show and it's kind of great, and some of it isn't great for being bad. Some of it's genuinely really well made superhero entertainment. This isn't great superhero entertainment. This is an alright. It's a fine pilot, but it's not.
It's good superhero entertainment. It's just okay general entertainment.
It's decent fantasy, but it's not. It doesn't live up to these crazy comic book stories that this character has been built on. Doctor Strange's fan base, I think, is bigger than a lot of people give it credit for, especially with his introduction into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And the fact that, like, some people defend this movie, and I understand that because it's not horrible, but I feel like that fan base isn't going to get anything they want out of this. You don't get anything interesting about Stephen Strange as a character, and you don't really get anything interesting from the world building. Yeah, you get a lot of comic accurate characters in Clea and Morgan Le Fay and Wong and Doctor Strange and all these people, but it's not interesting enough and doesn't give you anything that adds to his character or to the world in a way that I think the likes of, I mean, just look at Spider-Man from 2002, or look at Iron Man. These are movies that build on a comic book character and not only bring this whole new interpretation, but a lot of those changes in those movies are reflected in the comics of the time. The Doctor Strange comics before and after this movie came out were completely unaffected, and I think that's just because this movie has no impact or anything memorable about it.
It kind of has nothing to do with, because I think we already said this earlier, but it doesn't really have anything to do with Doctor Strange.
No.
He's not even though he's the main character and he's the title character, this doesn't really have anything to do with him.
He's like a bystander. He's just like our look into this world.
Everything he doesn't really do anything. Everything kind of just happens to him and he just goes along with it.
Which isn't the mark of a good protagonist. There's no hero's journey in this. There's no he starts at one point, ends at another. He starts as a skeptic and ends as somebody who has been given these magical abilities thrust onto him without training in the span of 12 hours.
He pretty much finishes the movie right where he started, except now he can throw lightning at people.
But there's nothing that's even earned him those powers.
Yeah, he hasn't done anything to get it. He just has a ring.
As a person, he has not changed. His beliefs have changed, but he has not changed in any way. Which, looking at any great story, looking at Peter Parker or looking at Luke Skywalker, those are people who changed, who start as a farm boy who just wants to be a pilot and ends as the greatest savior in the galaxy, who starts as a bullied high school student and ends as New York's savior. It's these stories that are the mark of great characters and great world building and great character building. But there's nothing about that with Doctor Strange, is what I'm saying. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I think we've spent 20 minutes talking about all we have to say.
Definitely enough of that, I think. I'm glad that we were able to have this conversation about this movie, though, because I think in the future we'll be able to look back and see if other movies are as bad at world and character building as this is. Because
I'm sure there probably are.
I'm sure there's going to be examples of ones that are much better and ones that are much worse, and this can kind of be a middle ground, one that isn't interesting or ambitious enough to achieve anything new for the character, but also doesn't totally disparage everything about him. It's not offensive, it's just not interesting, and that's about it.
Yeah. Well, next week we have something a lot more interesting.
Next week. So next week, guys, and this is, I'm sorry, but this is going to be a 100% spoiler-filled episode, because I don't think we're going to be able to have a spoiler-free section.
Not at all. One. And we're not even going to try. We're just going to let everything out.
Because I don't want you guys to know anything going into this, because I don't really, other than what I've seen, which is probably about a minute and a half of footage. Yeah. So next week, we are going to talk about Avengers Endgame.
Right after we go see it, we're seeing it actually on the day that it releases, on the 26th.
We're seeing it Friday night. So our plan is we're going to see it Friday night. We're going to come here, we're going to record our episode, and Friday we're just going to release the episode that night.
Yeah, we're not going to do any editing or anything to it. It's just whatever we say in there, unless it's something absolutely terrible that we need to cut out.
If Franny goes on one of his famous racist tangents about how he hates all races, then I'll have to probably cut that out. But other than that,
it's going to be just us pretty much giving what we thought about the movie after seeing it, and having mental breakdowns.
We're probably going to use this podcast as a vessel for emotional support. So, because we're not going to be able to probably contain ourselves after seeing Avengers Endgame, there's just going to be a lot of well, it'll be an emotional time.
Something.
It'll be something. So you look forward to that.
If you're not interested in that, next week's would probably be the one to skip.
Yeah. If you want a break, just take a
yeah. If you don't want to hear us complaining about every
Avengers.
superhero we know dying.
So yeah, we assume probably
from what
probably.
we can assume.
And so after that we'll be back on normal schedule. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about movies chronological order. So after Endgame we'll be talking about the 2 Captain America movies. But whenever a new one comes out, like when Spider-Man Far From Home comes out, we're gonna record that episode and then release that. So there won't be an episode next Tuesday then, because we're doing it on the Friday, unless we want to do a Friday episode and a Sunday episode. Well, I don't know if I'm gonna have the energy for that.
We definitely won't,
especially not after watching Endgame. I don't want to watch.
That movie's 3 hours long, and there's gonna be it's gonna be something.
It's gonna be something. So yeah, look forward to our Endgame episode this Friday, actually, because you're hearing this on Tuesday. It's only 3 days away, so there you go.
Oh yeah, shit.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you can find the show on Twitter and Instagram at Marvel Movie Pod, and you can email us at Gmail at what is it? It's marvelmoviepod@gmail.com. You can find me on Twitter at Flipped Egg, but the E in egg is a 3. You can find me on Instagram at Flipped Egg, normally spelt. You still got nothing to plug?
Yep.
All right. Well, we are out of here again. Bye.